All right, we will call to order this meeting of the Park City Board of Education today, November 14th at 4 p.m. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, 2.01, we have the consent agenda, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes regular session minutes of October 17th, account payable registers of October 9th, 10th, 11th, 20th, 24th, 25th, October 30th, November 1st, audit report, interlocal agreement with Park City Municipal, travel requests, personnel information, board revenues and expenditures of July, August, September, and October 2023.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated. Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion on any of the items in the consent agenda?
Probably not discussion, but just a comment. I was looking at the interlocal agreement and just look forward to more conversations on what we're doing with those fields, because that's not an insignificant amount of money to maintain them, and obviously tied in with the junior high, and so look forward to talking more about that.
Yeah, I mean, also from an environmental perspective,
Absolutely.
paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to water fields.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, the need for that to all be grass was one of the things that immediately jumps out. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting to see we've gotten a lot of support in the community for a new scoreboard at the Dozier Field. And hopefully that is kind of an indicator of support for recreational facilities. I think we're all curious how the rec bond in Park City will go. Yeah, I mean, look, the community's been asking for turf fields for baseball, for lacrosse, for all these sports for a long time. And so it's probably a timely discussion to have. And I think, are you guys having kind of some exploratory discussions with Basin Rec and Muni?
Yeah, we kicked off the master athletic facility planning meeting last Monday. So that was part of our execution process. So we selected MEPN as our architect. And so now they're in the gathering information process to help us look at all of our fields and look at them in conjunction with Basin Rec and Park City Municipal to try to get the best footprint possible for our students and community. So we're looking at that. The interlocal agreement actually expired in November. So that 3-year extension was designed, they could have walked away from Park City Municipal with a little bit of time there. But they said, hey, we want to partner with the schools. We don't want to be a bad guy here. And so we proposed a 3-year extension to allow us to make a decision on what's going to happen with the treasurer. It was time to do this facility planning process for the athletic fields. The Basin Rec component of the interlocal agreement expires in 3 years, and they're going into building themselves, the bonds happening. So we thought we'd let that time to let the dust settle on all those things to see where we would best, best footprint for us would be. Certainly, and we've asked the architectural firm to look at all options. The turf fields, internal circulation, fossil field house, all those kinds of things. It's kind of like a dream big and look at all the externalities to see how we can the best footprint for people.
And presumably usage across those.
Right. Well, and Park City Municipal told us, hey, we want to get out of the field business. We don't want to attract additional baseball tournaments that make it busier to counter business summer. We're not using the fields, but here we have a requirement for the local agreement to water them and maintain them, and we're not really using them. So they want to extract themselves from that, and so this was the offering that we put in place in the area.
Cool. All right. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as read, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We will start next with employee reports.
Good evening, everybody.
PCA has just a few things to report on tonight. We've been actively working with Dr. Gilday and Craig Jensen on the upcoming school year calendars for the next years in order to add the 2 extra days for licensed teachers as agreed upon in our compensation agreement. We do not anticipate any impact on students and families since these days are teacher work days, and we should have a better idea in the coming months as to when and where to put those 2 extra days for teachers. A survey went out to teachers and parents in the community addressing parent-teacher conferences. The survey is still open, and PCA encourages anyone who has not filled it out to complete it. This will help us to work with the district office personnel to address what is working, what is not working, and what we can do moving forward to address best practices and use of time for teachers, parents, and students at every level, both secondary and elementary. PCA along with UEA will be closely monitoring the next legislative session coming up in January. Thank you to Dr. Upton for joining us in our monthly meeting yesterday to give us a few updates as to what is coming down the pipe so far. The WPU, as well as changes to the Constitution in regards to public education spending, will be a few of those items that we will keep a close eye on since those changes have the potential to impact all of us. Teachers were thrilled to have our 4 Flex Fridays put on the calendar for this school year. Thank you to Dr. Gilday, Craig Jensen, and all the district office staff for continuing a very appreciated way to support mental health and wellness. We want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving next week, and we are super thankful to have the opportunity to discuss issues and work towards solutions on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Cindy here on behalf of our EIG members, and bear with me, I've had laryngitis all week, so my voice is kind of bumpy right now. So on behalf of EIG, I'd like to thank the board and the administration for the opportunity to share information at our monthly meetings. We appreciate the opportunity that we have to come together with PCCEA and meet monthly with Dr. Gilday and Mr. Jensen. These meetings are a great opportunity for us to share our concerns and our comments with our members. And we want to thank everyone for their approval of our Flex Fridays. Our members are very grateful. And we wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Jan Branson, PCCEA. We have been really happy members lately. We had a board meeting last night and just heard very little concerns from ARs. In fact, hearing mostly positive stories from our ARs. So we'll come and share some of those sometime. We like to hear positive stories, right? We also appreciate the Flex Fridays. We did have some questions from staff members, particularly the secretarial, about the logistics of it. So just some conversations we need to have later, maybe, about that. But everyone seems to be pretty excited about it. Just trying to understand how they do it, if they have less than 1 FTE, and where it comes out of budget codes and things like that. On the note of teacher days, professional development, I took a day for my state role to go to Davis's professional development day, and I just want to share. On November 1st, the day after Halloween, they do whole district professional development for the day, and it was genius. They had separate for licensed and ESPs, and the staff really chose what topics they wanted to talk about, and I was shocked what ESPs really wanted to learn about. It was a lot of tech. It was not, they really wanted, it was not what I imagined. But I just thought I would share that I think people would really love to have PD on the day after Halloween. That might help with attendance and morale as well. Yeah. That's it. Those are my little pieces. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go to Stacy Briggs.
Or Zach.
What's up?
Up to you, but or Zach. Do another board. Who else to share?
Yeah, we can do that. Zach, why don't you give us an update for Stacy?
Okay. So The last week in October, we had our Halloween week. We had zombie night on that Monday, we had a movie night on Wednesday, and we also had a dodgeball tournament on Thursday. All the events turned out super fun, and all the students who attended had lots of fun. Then for I think it was November 1st, we had our candy buyback, which is where student council goes around to all of like the elementary schools and middle schools. And they trade kids for prizes for a certain amount of candy. And this year we got 262 pounds of candy.
Wow.
And that candy then goes to soldiers overseas. We send it out. And then later this week and early next week, we have the talent show tryouts. We have had a couple students sign up so far, and I really look forward to seeing what they end up doing. And then now moving on to December, the week before Christmas break, we have a bunch of events. On the Tuesday of that week, December 12th, we have a bonfire. On Wednesday, the 13th, we have a movie night. On Thursday, we have a sledding day, and then Friday, we have the talent show. Yeah,
Awesome.
Fun.
Okay, mine's not as fun as that. But
You have
we-
272 pounds of candy.
We'll work on it. What we do have is the instructional materials adoption timeline, just a quick introduction to that. There was direction from the legislature of how that has to go down, and there's also a bit of tweaking from the state office on what are acceptable materials for instructional materials adoption. So they do a preliminary approval and we get to choose from those things. We'll be convening our committee according to our policy and the state code in January and February and looking at the materials and reviewing those. In March, we'll come back to the board and share what things we have for parents to review. We're doing literacy K-3 adoption this year. And we want to adopt a suite of materials. So both for main tier 1 instruction in the classroom, as well as for tier 2 and tier 3 interventions. So we want to get that all going together. And then after we have had at least 2 parent meetings and the time in between 2 board meetings for parent input, which will have time for parents to take surveys. We'll make sure materials are available online. Then we'll bring that back to submit to the board for adoption. Questions about that? And that gives us May and June to start working on professional development and learning for any implementation that we need to do. Another couple of things, one of our main focus areas from teaching and learning this fall has been working on our professional collaboration and our PLCs. And in conjunction with learning rounds and instructional rounds and a whole data cycle, that's been going very well. And all teachers and all levels are working hard. Administrators are involved, and I'm happy to report that that is progressing and becoming even more embedded in our practice. And then one final note, when Principal Arbati was here, when Roger was here talking about the AP award for the Access Award, which is about diverse students taking AP tests, participation rates, and pass rates, as well as the new AP Platinum Award. One of the things we didn't know at that time was that Park City High School is the only public high school in the state of Utah to receive either one of those awards. And so just wanted to celebrate that. Right. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike.
Good afternoon. This is the operations update for the 14th of November, 2023. Buildings and grounds is fully staffed and operations are running smoothly at all the schools. The first meeting for the Master Athletic Facility Planning Initiative was held last Friday. And we hope to have our deliverables in hand from that effort by the end of February. We just talked about the 3-year extension proposal for the interlocal agreement accepted by Parks and Municipal on the 2nd of November, and you guys just voted on it in the consent agenda tonight. So that's a done deal. I'd like to report also that all snow removal equipment is ready for action and our contracted services are all coordinated, waiting for the snow to fly. Transportation, we have 2 drivers almost completed training. They're in trial runs this week with the trainers and hopefully into service next week. We have an additional driver that will likely enter the training pipeline next week, and a few additional applicants that are being reviewed in the folders as well. Park City High School staff member, one of them, completed training last week and will be available to support Park City High School events. The Zoner bus locating service that we've discussed is operational now. We're going to have a parental instructions and a PR push coming up soon. This will allow parents to look at their child's location on bus if they have concerns. All of our bus routes now have been uploaded into Power School. That process is complete, and so now Lori has a capability to click on a bus and push out swift K-12 communication to any given bus. If it's something about a reroute or perhaps an accident or something, we can communicate rapidly with the parents. With the new drivers, Trans is reworking the Deer Valley routes to ensure that we can accomplish them and still get them funded. With the drivers that we have coming on board, we should be able to restore that service here at Hope within a month. Child nutrition services is fully staffed. Operations are running smoothly at all schools. John reports that morale is high. John and his team are training on the equipment in the new Eckerd Hill Middle School kitchen. That opening has been delayed a little bit for the hood that is over the ovens that the control motor parts are in there, but we anticipate opening it the Monday after Thanksgiving. Full food deliveries will begin to the new Eckerd Hill Middle School kitchen in the last week of November, and then we'll start the service in the first week of December. Installation of a walk-in cooler at home is underway, and we don't anticipate any service disruptions from that process. Human resources, your staff reports just spoke about Flex Fridays, and Craig put out a memo clarifying what the Flex Friday rules are for the different grade groups. HR is also working with EMS to finish up and receive the results from the district-wide job study. Security, House Bill 61 funding decision should come this week. As you might recall, Park City School District applied for $1.5 million in security funds. We'll see what we get. Grant package was also submitted to secure compensation for House Bill 61 required school safety specialists. We have to have a person in each one of the schools who's identified as a point of contact for safety issues. That person will be trained on internal threat assessment, standard response protocol, and will be kind of trained point of contact within the school. And so there's a compensation component that comes along with that. That compensation is secured with a grant application that was submitted this week. The AI Incident Alert System, AGIX, is working well. That's now being used during drills in most schools, and we're working out some of the bugs. Every time somebody runs a drill, we ask the folks to put together a sheet of problems, and we actively look to solve those. Our AI camera-based firearms detection platform, Zero Eyes, that we just awarded the RFP for, is in the process of being installed. Our goal is to have it completed by the end of the calendar year for that installation. We just let a spectrum duty contract for a school district nurse that had the formal responsibilities of coordinating CPR and AED training for our staff, and ALS training, advanced life support. My hope is that we'll have a small cadre of people trained in each school to look at traumatic things, such as a gunshot wound, a traumatic head injury, anaphylactic shock, diabetic coma, those kinds of things, where those first few minutes having someone trained on site can really save a life before first responders get there. So we're working to swing that out. Internal threat assessment, or CSTAG training, will be conducted for all administrators during the 13th December meeting. And the standard response protocol training for all admin later in the year is we're working on that as the meeting calendar allows. So that's the report. Any questions? No.
Thank you.
I think the next item is construction. What's that? Keep going.
Why don't you give a district facilities update and then we'll go to.
I'd be glad to.
Since you're already here.
Construction update. Just like to remind the public that with all the schools, the projects have been planned to minimize educational impact, ensure safety for the students and the staff, and minimize traffic and parking disruption. I think we've been pretty successful in doing that. Our weekly construction meetings are held with the architects and the builders and district staff to ensure timely tactical coordination and decision making. MOCA, our owners rep, is also conducting bi-weekly owners meetings for important strategic decisions and updates. Park City High School is on schedule. Mechanical, electrical, plumbing, MEP they call it, and HVAC work continues. Structural steel is being set, and masonry work is rapidly progressing. We're seeing some walls go up on phase 1 of the project. Substantial completion for that project will be spring of 2025. Eckertville Middle School is also on schedule. MEP work for the HVAC and fire systems continues. Masonry work will begin on the north side expansion. Gym has been returned to service, but the kitchen, as I mentioned, is delayed for motor controls with an estimated time of commissioning about 27 November. Substantial completion there, just like the high school, spring of 2025. Jeremy is on schedule. We're working through interior framing, insulation, and drywall work. MEP for the HVAC and fire systems continue. Exterior siding, architectural treatments, and window frames are being installed. New site fencing on the east side clay pit equipment is being installed. And we are just finalizing the order for furniture for both Jeremy and Paul. It's kind of exciting to see all that come together with input from our pre-K leadership. Substantial completion there will be next summer. Paul also is on schedule. Exterior architectural elements are being installed. Storefronts and remaining glass are being installed. The interior MEP for HVAC and fire system work continues. Interior walls and ceilings are being finished and painted, and architectural elements are being installed. So it's a little further ahead than Jeremy, and moving along quite well. Again, substantial completion is next summer. Carly's Park is on schedule. The interior work is underway. Sound walls were installed to minimize the educational impact. Interior demolition of the existing kindergarten, multi-purpose and music room continues. Exterior demolition of some concrete, asphalt, landscaping continues. Exterior relocation of the grease interceptor is underway. And footing excavation is underway for the east side building expansion. Again, substantial completion is October of 2024. But Kim will be able to move into the schools, which will be completely interior piece for the start of school next year. Trailside Elementary, coordination was started with the county and the USB project number process. That's all in progress, along with the CDP rezone and the apps are being looked at. Design work has resumed. Anticipate construction begins this coming summer 2024, with substantial completion this summer of 2025. Just a reminder of the construction summary in layman's terms is posted weekly on the district website for those who want to follow the project along. And we have a whole host of information about construction projects there. Right now, we have a real nice summary of what's happening at the elementary levels. We're going to be adding to it a real nice summary of what's happening at the secondary levels quite soon. Our district's owners rep, Mocha, JD is with us in the crowd. He's the brains behind the operation. So if you have any in-depth questions, he'd be happy to answer it. Soil mitigation, the community information plan, town hall was held on the 8th and 9th of November. The community information plan and meeting recordings are posted to the district website. The materials management plan is being finalized with the DEQ. Partial removal action of the small pile is possible. The small pile will likely commence on the 18th of December, or plus or minus 2 days. Continued removal action will likely continue during district ski and spring breaks and after school is out. No removal action will occur when students or staff are in the school. And the removal contractor procurement and evaluation is underway.
As you said, approval is ongoing. Do we have any sense yet that they're going to be okay with us moving it in those blocks in between times kids in school?
Yeah, we actively lobby for our removal action in the summer when school is out. They, along with the EPA, are pushing for earlier action for a number of reasons. So it was their recommendation, that we start as early as possible, and, it seems like we've fallen on a good, agreement. At least in my conversations with DEQ, so I would be surprised if that was not within that time.
Okay, and you were looking for help with funding, some kind of grant, any progress on that?
We are, so far it's been unsuccessful, we'll continue with the search, but the problem with a lot of the federal grants is that they are already budgeted for the next fiscal year. So, us applying now for a grant that would reach our project that we're starting in a couple of months here is problematic, but there may be still some things out there we're still searching for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, Dr. Zach.
Right. More listening, ready? My stuff is fun, not as fun as the 262 pounds of candy, that was the most fun, but. We have some fun things too. So this is American Education Week, which is always great. You get to hear lots of great stories of things that are happening around the country and all of our public schools, but always fun to celebrate. And Happy Educational Support Professionals Week. Wednesday is the day for that celebration, and we have fun giveaway for Wednesday. I always talk about the mission and vision. It's one of the superintendent's things to do, right? So we inspire and support all students equitably to achieve their academic and social potential. That's always our North Star and always what we're trying to measure our actions and our impact against. And I really appreciate the vision of the district being a whole child focus. Our students are safe, supported, engaged, challenged, and healthy, because when any of those things fall off, right, we hear about it right away so that we can try to get back on track if something is off. But if we make decisions according to these things, safe, supported, engaged, challenged, and healthy, we know we're doing the right thing for our students and our staff. So we always try to keep that mission and vision at the forefront. Last week, we had some wonderful celebrations across the elementary schools to recognize and commemorate a Veterans Day. And this was at least your second one, Meredith, at least second,
Oh my
right?
gosh, I've been
Have you done them
it's
forever?
a lot.
I knew that was your second, and Colton was in his dress blues, and Mayor Nan came to McCollin, and each of the schools had really, it's such a great day to bring community in and just really recognize acts of service and patriotism. And the students, Mary, did so well. You got so many positive accolades from your colleagues. That was really fun. And one of my favorite comments that I think I already shared with the board, but it was the comment that the 5th grader made about Miss Morgan teaches us the meaning of why we're singing. And that's why we sing better, because we understand how important the words are. So thank you for your diligent efforts with them, because I think it really came across, and parents and the students had big wide grins, which was amazing. Today we had the great surprise of having one of our teachers recognized as the CTE Teacher of the Year. So Trip Marshall was recognized for the aviation and the drone programs that are funded by PCEF. So it was really fun to have that celebration at, it was for the high school program that he's recognized, but he's just been an excellent person who just brings all kinds of innovative ideas, right? Excellent ideas to the forefront for kids and really helps them apply what they're learning in the setting. Our high school LIA students had a wonderful, very well attended celebration for Day of the Dead. Lots of community participation in that. It's really just like a giant potluck. It's really amazing. From our equity team, our inspiring and supporting all students equitably, we do have an insight survey that was deployed, and that was deployed in phases. We were and participated already. So hopefully those questions were meaningful, and that group is how we are evaluating or getting a baseline as to where we are in our implementing educational equity and outcomes. So from a policy lens, from a curriculum lens, from an opportunity lens. So that's ongoing. Our next meeting of that team is December 5th, and we have subgroups of that team working on how to apply the different 10 different action principles of that policy, put that into practice in the schools. and district. And then we are also working to develop our internal training on educational equity. And that's been really good, and a teacher group has had some focus groups on that, so that we can hit the content that teachers really need. Make it meaningful. Another big priority, as you know, is the wellness plan. So this is the first year that we are implementing a K-12 wellness plan. And what that means are there are monthly lessons across the system related to social development, personal development, and thinking about our thinking, building our organizational skills, building our problem-solving skills, critical thinking activities. And I love the way this theme is working across the district for the high school. It's really linked to the PBIS program. You should be hearing things during your minor minute show and things like that, but ways for people to apply these different skills into the educational setting. So I'm excited about that. From the master plan point of view, our realignment teams have been meeting. So secondary realignment is studying everything from transcripts to implementing equitable outcomes to master schedule, what the branding or vision might look like for a 6-8 middle school, 9-12 high school, what the bell schedule might look like. So those teams will be coming with recommendations to the board for things that are policy related. We are also working to formalize our strategic plan. We have all of the elements. We just have to get them into a nice visualization that aligns with that governor's office of best practices. So we're working on that formatting with a great consultant who is pushing our thinking. So it's stuff that we've had all along, so we're not changing the direction of anything. We're just trying to get these things into a format that makes it easier for the board to monitor, easier for the community to see transparently. It'll be a little more appealing visually than maybe what we've put out before. So we're looking forward to that being ready for board review by April. It'll probably be even sooner. I think she said February today, but I was trying to give us some time just in case. But really good work that Stacy is leading with a large team. Our early learning, you already heard Mike gave away the surprise, but people have been actually working on the furniture, fixture, and equipment phase of the project, which is so much fun to see. The teachers last year got to see a variety of options, furniture and little, the preschool stuff is so much fun. What things are squishy, what about the kitchen centers, all that stuff. So it was really fun today hearing Dan Gallery talk about the number of kitchen centers and the number of dramatic play centers and writing center in each classroom. Really, really fun. So looking forward to that. Did my recognition slide now? There it is. It comes through. It's looking blank to me. So right before the meeting, we found out that Jeremy, McMullen, Farley's Trailside, and Ecker, in addition to the high school, were named as Best U.S. News and World Report 2024 designees. This means that they are the top 40% in performance in Utah, in the state. This is great news. We have the little rankings of each of them, and they are, as it says in the little thing, badge eligible. So it means they can put that they're a best elementary school on their website. So that's kind of fun. This is not something we apply to. It's not something that there's any money, for U.S. World News Report. It's just something that they publish. So they do the high school first. We already heard about that. And now they've just published the elementary and the middle schools. So kind of fun. Always fun to have some external recognition. And they put how, their methodology and everything out there. So you can read about that. And I'm sure Faith has an article coming out about that. And then I did want to remind everybody that we do have data and statistics online all the time. We have a really robust data and statistics tab on our website. And that's also a great way to look at how have things been over time. We have data from 2014-15 all the way till today. So you can look at trends over time and you can see what has the population been doing? What about number of students? What about amount of English language learners? So you can kind of keep track of that. And then one of my favorite pieces is the college and career readiness indicators. We always do really well in that. We have about 80% of the kids self-reporting that they're going to college. Our ACT scores have remained fairly high. Our highest has been just under 25. We always kind of aspire to keep pushing that. But a 23 average definitely means that the kids are graduating ready to do that rigorous work in that next level. And as you heard, the AP results, having a 76 to a 78% pass rate on those AP tests is quite amazing. And then our concurrent enrollment, we don't want to forget about that. Our last year's kids, $1.2 million of credits earned. So I mean, we're saving parents actual college tuition by having kids participate in those programs. And really proud of the 94% graduation rate. Of course, you want 100, but that's always lagging as well. So that's a 2-year lagging report for the state. Happy to answer any questions, and thank you.
Next, we'll go to 4.02 student enrollment numbers. Do you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, so just as some information, November 15th, which is tomorrow, marks the start of the early open enrollment period, which continues to the first Friday in February for schools. So districts are required to go through and perform calculations, which includes number of instructional stations, average class size, projected number of students. Taken into effect on the projection number of students and instructional stations, the current effects dealing with construction, the current effects of building that's going on in the area as well, and the potential increase in students that may take place with structures that are just outside the school district boundaries. So taking all those things into account, the second page of the information that was given to you is the projections along with the enrollment thresholds and the status of each school this is for the FY25 school year. So to present that information to you, if the board chooses to open schools for open enrollment, then no action is needed. But if the board chooses to close schools for open enrollment, then we'd be in motion stating such, and that would start that period tomorrow.
Okay, let's go to that decision, and then we'll return to you on legislative priorities. So 5.01, having reviewed the enrollment numbers, the board will now determine the schools within the district are open to out-of-boundary applications, given the business administrator's recommendation to remain closed. So I will entertain a motion to keep the district schools closed, and then we'll open it for discussion.
I make a motion to keep the district schools closed. Second.
Okay, do we have any questions or thoughts on this post Randy's recommendation?
Well,
Yeah.
well, no, I just, maybe, do you wanna? You came in when it was open, you wanna maybe give a little summary? So I know people have questions about why we moved to closed, what are the benefits?
Yeah, so,
In the building,
yeah,
what's happening outside of the district right
yeah,
now.
Look, the background is really a desire from the community to have small class sizes. And a desire from staff and administration for the same. You know, every year the state gives us guidelines on what is teachable space. We also, you know, are open to interpreting that. There's other elements that go into these decisions, such as, are we going through construction and have displacement of students, or, you know, offline classrooms, et cetera. You know, I think there could be a question given, you know, the trend of somewhat declining enrollment. Okay, going forward in the future, what does this look like? And does that mean that in the future we will be open to families that are out of district? And I think, you know, there's 2 projects that are coming online that are worth mentioning. One is, where is it? Kearns? So by the movie theater, studios with 200 units. And so that's, you know, we estimate about 100 kids there. And then there's still plans for the tech center redevelopment, where there's 1,200 units and an estimate of 500 students there. So, you know, in the next few years, we anticipate to be back over 5,000 students. And we've always had the view with regards to enrollment that once you're in, you're in. We're not gonna let kids in now and then when they go to middle school, suddenly say, oh, you can't go. You know, when we closed the schools, we made it so that everyone who was in would be in until they graduated. We've also made special dispensation for their siblings as well, so that families weren't split between school districts. We also have the ability through policy to make exceptions for hardship, meaning if there is a situation of hardship in a family where people are forced to move to another district, there's the opportunity to appeal and keep the students enrolled, so that there's not a disruption for the student, even if there's a problem for employment or divorce, that type of thing. So, you know, and the last thing I would say is that a lot of people don't understand the difference in funding between districts. The state of Utah sets a WPU, which is a weighted pupil unit, and is the amount of money that is the benchmark for funding per student in the state. We tend to run about double what the recommended spend is. Other districts are in a deficit. If they're in a deficit from tax collections, they get money from districts which are in surplus, which is us. This year, we'll probably give around $30 million to the state of Utah to redistrict out to less fortunate districts. Those are $30 million of our tax money, to put that in context, it's about 30% of our budget. So it's an absolutely massive number. But when students come into our district from other districts, we get reimbursed only for what their local district spends. And likewise, when we have students who go to other districts, we pay what we spend. So, you know, there's a lot of factors that go into this, but, you know, the primary one is, you know, the employment threat, the enrollment threshold capacity are determined by teachable space, as well as the desire to have classes at the levels that we do by policy. And so, you know, unless the community, I think, changes their mind and wants to have larger classes, I would imagine that the schools will remain closed in the district, especially with, you know, probably another 500 to 700 kids coming online in the next few years.
Do you have any sense what the demand would be if we did open?
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty large, especially given the economics. The spend per pupil, we're the highest in the state. Also, the spending for special education is very high per student. So, you know, just based on that, it would be, I would guess, significant. We have applications every year, you know, that are substantial. And I think, look, most people know that it's closed, but people try all the time.
What was it? Do we know when it was open?
What's that?
Do we know what it was when it was open? Since it was, do we know how many kids were coming in from that district?
It was in the hundreds. Yeah, I mean, we have, I think, 100 now that are students or children of staff members. Is that the number now? It's 100. It's been, I think we were at 300 or so prior. So it's, you know, on a percentage basis, you know, 6-7% of enrollment, and on each of those you lose money. Now, you could argue that public education is for everyone, but you know, we are as a body responsible to the voters who, you know, every time we've asked, and you know, just on an ad hoc basis, I think anytime we have large classes, especially in the elementaries, it's, you know, it's pitchforks and torches. So I would say that's a good indicator that the expectations are still for the class sizes small. And you know, the state fortunately gives us that flexibility, right? They give us that ability to decide in each district what the right size is. So you know, I think probably the next time to look is after all those units come online and we absorb the kids and see, okay, where are we then? You know, but the state of Utah is going through decline in births. And so it's not just our district, it's every district that is seeing fewer kindergartners than they are
Yeah,
seniors.
seniors.
Um,
And we always have the option to close some, open others, correct?
Yeah, we had this Poland open for a while,
Yeah.
even when the district was closed, because there was a population, not a bubble, but the opposite, there was a dip, and so that opened, but then even again, that's somewhat limited because it's fully dual immersion,
Yeah,
right? So if you
yeah.
come in
Yeah.
not as a kindergartner, it's real tough, or if you have a learning disability, it's real tough to be in dual language, so that's happened in the last several years, but otherwise it's been pretty consistent, I think, over the last 5 or 6.
Probably our biggest concern right now is the Silver Creek Village, because there's 900 units planned there, they're going up really fast. And there's 300 that are low income housing included in that, so they're actually part of South Summit School District, but there's not a school in the vicinity of the area. And so by opening Park City Schools, we think there'd be an influx of individuals coming here right before we're getting into the position of having to reconfigure the schools, right? We don't want to put us in a negative situation. So,
And Randy, it looks like all of the projected enrollments are just above, the majority are just above enrollment threshold. It's like,
Right.
we're not.
we kept it relatively
Yeah.
flat in
Yeah.
that we've got the 209 units going in over by the movie
Yeah.
theater, movie as well, movie
Yeah,
production.
yeah. Still
And then with the
something.
tech center as well, how many
Yeah.
are going up there, how quickly
Yeah.
will they go? Again, I think once things are reconfigured and we've been able to maintain class sizes of the board, the community wants us to maintain the space that we have. Then we can look at possibilities of opening there, but to do that now with some of the
Right,
building
right.
that's already gone on is a little risky for us down the road.
Nobody allowing them, or they're,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
all right, all those in favor of keeping schools closed for the 24-25 year, please say aye. Okay. We'll go back to 4.03 legislative priorities. Randy, do you want to give us an update on the upcoming session?
Yeah, just a few tidbits. First of all, there's an education interim meeting tomorrow, 8 a.m. If you want to get up early and go, they're talking about non-number type of stuff with educator neutrality and the sensitive materials discussion take place. A lot of discussion going on right now, sensitive materials. I've included in your packet just couple recommendations. So the JLC, we'll call it, which is the school boards are part of with the Superintendent Association, the school business officials. Those priorities, just to give you a 10,000 foot view, they're asking for a 13.5% increase in the WPU, with 8% of it being flexible or unrestricted, 4% for inflation, and 1.5% to eliminate fees. One of the priorities is retiree reemployment of $42 million is what they're asking for, and they're asking for some sort of adjustment in the certified tax rate process to deal not just with growth, but with inflationary numbers that we're seeing. So other areas that they prioritize are special ed, transportation, impact fees. The State Board of Education also has a priority list, which they've included a 10% increase in the WPU. 1% of the WPU is $41 million statewide. They requested one-time funds in the educator professional time, which we'll talk about in a second. That's the 32 hours that's given by the legislature for teachers to spend additional professional time to be paid for that. They're requesting $32 million in pupil transportation, 13.9 million in educator salary adjustment, which is that 4,200 that they allocated a second time. They're requesting special ed funding of one-time 1.7 million, which as you can imagine, statewide will not go very far, 1.7 million. And then Beverly Taylor Sorensen funding of 2.5 million. They have requested during one of the last BEAs that they include in the base budget bill. The base budget bill is the bill that's passed in the first 7 to 10 days of the session, so that if we go into if they can't pass a budget by the end of the session, much like our federal counterparts, then they will use the base budget bill to fund education, and so they're able to finalize a budget. But one of the things they're really keen on, which the UEA is aware of, is with the educator professional time, is to have a stipend that goes to teachers for their hours worked be the same across the board. So right now, districts have the ability to decide, do we pay a flat rate to everyone that qualifies, or do we pay their going rate, right? So if we pay their going rate, then typically there's less hours available. It's not a fully funded program anyway, so there'd probably be less hours available anyway if we did a flat rate. But basically the teacher's own rate helps the more tenured teachers financially. The flat rate helps the newer teachers financially. So the legislature will have their own opinion and kick that in. They're planning on putting that in the base budget bill, that it's got to be equal across the board. Whether that'll stick or whether that'll really go in when we get to the session, we'll see what happens there. Other programs they're studying, which are below the line programs. So basically what they do is they pull the money back for these programs while they quote study them during the session, decide if they want the funding to go to those programs or if they want them to go to their own programs that they're coming up with. So some of those are at-risk students, dual immersion, which affects us, affected teachers in high poverty schools, elementary counselor program, transportation in rural areas, which does not affect us. Title I schools, paraeducator program, early literacy, and digital teaching and learning. So some of those programs do affect us and receive funding for that. Potentially we would lose funding there, but may gain it elsewhere depending on what those parameters are. So that's kind of a 10,000-foot view right now is what we're looking at. We're close to the session. Obviously, it seems like it comes faster every year, and we'll continue to give you updates as things transpire. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Is that interim thing or is it virtual?
I think we will have it.
Thank you.
Yeah, usually everything now they have, we can listen in. Yeah.
Okay, we have 3 policies for posting. I'll entertain a motion. Following policies: policy 1008, facilities development, a new policy resulting from state audit, policy 5000, emergency conditions, and policy 11,000, family education rights and privacy.
I make a motion to post the policies, the 3 policies as stated.
Second.
Okay, do we have any questions on these 3 policies? Okay, all those in favor of posting 3 policies, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. We have 2 policies for adoption. Policy 1007, environmental regulation plan, which is a new policy, and then policy 10010, student plan, which is a revision. Lori, have we gotten any public comment when the posting of these 2 policies? Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve and adopt these 2 policies, 1007 and 10010.
I make a motion to adopt policy 1007 and 10010. Second.
Okay, do we have any questions or discussion on either of these? Okay, all those in favor of adopting both policies, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. All right, now we will open up for public comment. Does anyone here have public comment? Any nice things to say, Jen? Want to share some nice things? We're gonna do happy public comment today.
I'm still really excited.
Awesome.
My parents saying we've had a lot of tours out there and it's just amazing how customized it is to 3 and 4 year olds. It's just, I mean, their sinks are 2 feet high and they're not deep because you can't reach the soap, you know, and it's like.
Awesome. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn until our next regular scheduled meeting, which will be
December.
December 12th, 4 p.m.
The motion to close until our next meeting on December 12th.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
All right.